coming in for the masculine and feminine report. Now, what I did something different with these readings is I led everything over to the divine energy, and I didn't have any intention at all. I just said, you give me what you feel is needed, instead of what I felt is needed from an earth perspective. So hopefully that will come out in these cards. So we're going to start here with the Gods and Titans deck. I mixed them both together for the spread, and then I just shuffled what will come out. So even though we're doing the feminine side first here, we will get a mix of masculine and feminine cards. Here we go. I will mention that I'm in a different field at this point. I just come out of a session, and normally when I do a reading, I will ground and protect and all of that. I have a certain thing that I do there, and this is above and beyond that. So if I seem like I'm kind of not myself, it's because I am so much so on the other side of this. Okay, so as we get into the first card, which is a feminine card for the feminine from the Gods and Titans deck, and this is the feminine side, that the first card we get is contentment. Okay, again, feminine energy, here we go. Again, a protective ball here of energy. Now, it's interesting to me, because literally what I just came out of was an energy healing, and I feel the need to talk about this. And though I am an energy healer, at this point I'm taking time out to heal thyself through them, letting them in and doing this. And part of that is the sense they're giving me here is, yeah, we're going into a deeper meaning of these cards. That ball that she is surrounding in her, right? Again, the residual meaning is like we are in creative mode, like there's a contentment here having to do with a new life that is being created. And isn't this kind of succinct with the energetic frequencies on the earth? Because every single one of us is going to learn how to create a new life within what we already have physically. And this can be traumatic for some people who are not in a way or a mode of understanding this completely. So if we're not evolving or pushing away our instinct and energies of a spiritual nature, this will be quite traumatic, because we'll be fighting with everything we have. It will just be very taxing to the system. Now, what I'm getting here is that the feminine is changing internally. Her energetic field is rising, and the red glowing from there, interestingly enough, can relate to the root chakra. So I feel like for the feminines at this time that resonate, and again, you may not resonate with the reading, and if you do, you are going through a frequency change having to do with your base chakra. This is what creates a firm foundation in your life. Could be job, it could be stability within a family, could be stability within a relationship. All of these things are going under high frequency flux, meaning it is not going to be the way that it has been. So if we are very unstable in a financial matter, or our home life was not stable, these are all things we're going to gain control of as we move forward. So this, I feel, is happening here quite abruptly. So the next feminine card, which is a feminine, it comes to authenticity. Yes, we are coming from the authentic self. And again, if we go back to that root ball, it is within us that this energy is growing outward. So I feel like the feminines are naturally glowing from the inside, and it has no choice but to manifest on the outside, because I feel like the feminines are not fighting it. I feel they are in their authenticity. They are not fighting this. They're going forward in energy of creeping forward to let this out in areas, and there may be sparks coming back to us in that way of resistance, but we ourselves are not being resistant to what internally is wanting to change. So this is good. But I do feel there will be a lot of flux on the outside, because the authenticity that we change into, some may not want this for us. And this is what we're going to learn to see here over this next while. It will be illuminated quite highly, and these will be the sharp changes that we will need to make over this time. Okay? So the next card that we have for the feminine is actually a masculine card, and it is Guidance, Odin. Interestingly, because Odin is the name of my guide who's just had a session with. And the buck stops here is the sense, because if you look at these three cards on the table, you look at contentment, you look at authenticity, and authenticity is the medium ground here. That is the perspective that can be fought against or accepted. And again, in the feminine energy, I feel this is being accepted. Now, the guidance, he is looking on to all of this. So again, we may be in contact with spirit guides. We may be learning how to connect to our guides. We may be getting names of who is guiding us at this time. A lot of this is coming through. Yeah, and it's all to get you prepared. Even though we may be in acceptance here of this energy field, it is still going to be a bumpy road, because it's going to be fluxes we may not have felt in our life, ever. They're going this life or past lives. We've not had. This is why there's high guidance here, is because this is coming in a wave and a format that is not... there's no soul blueprint for this. There's no recognition for this. So it will come in a way that is disarming. But at the same time, if we go with flow, which being more of our authentic self, it will be a smoother, more graceful ride. And we are somewhat contented at this time, because we know that the fluxes internally, we're being guided highly. So we know the fluxes are here, and our guides know us enough to know what is going to trigger not. So they are there 100% of the time. Again, if you're not guided, this may not resonate for you. But those that are in touch with their guides, they're going to be highly guided at this time to, again, just like I was highly guided. Okay, we need to do a healing session on thyself. Lay down, And then, right, the trust has to be there, though. You can't have star people or whatever you're tapping into. You can't have them coming into your field and messing about if there's not been a full cup of trust here. That's the thing. Can't be mucking about if we don't know what's going on up in there. So those are your three cards, two feminines. So I do feel like the feminine has a good grasp of their side of compassion and whatnot. We're in our contentment, and we're coming from our authenticity. So this is all going to go good. Odin is here for guidance. And here we go. So the next row here, as we get into the House of Night cards, we're going to get deeper into the energies. So, the first card on top of the contentment. We have listening. Kermisha. And again, there's a little verbiage here. Darkness does not always equate to evil, and light does not always bring good. And that was kind of an illusion I had. I felt like when I first started on this spiritual journey that I just had to be with people that talk light and everything's great and wonderful. And it's kind of like, yeah, nah. You learn to grow into your own frequency in that way. There are some people that are light and genuine in that way, and you will learn to suss out what is not and what is. But I feel like during this time of contentment, I feel like we may not be going outward in our energy so forcefully in our world whatsoever. I feel like in our physical world, we're kind of recessing back, and this is universally driven so that we can listen to our universe more than we spout out, as I'm shouting out here. Is bringing it back a bit so that we can see our surroundings a little better. Because sometimes when we're in the conversation and of it, we don't absorb it like we can be as a witness to it, right? Like they say, the fly on the wall. If you're removed somewhat and you listen, you take in a whole 360. But if you're talking, you kind of get only 180 of the conversation, you know what I'm saying? So this is what I'm getting here, and also the trickery between light and dark, and those that are still in illusion and whatnot. Okay, so having contentment and being in a listening mode and not being forceful in that, and just naturally flowing in this area to kind of observe a little more than we actually take action at this time is what I feel the feminine's doing. Now, on top of the authenticity card, the House of Night card is 40, talking about beauty. Yeah, again, being more authentic to who we truly are from internal makes us more beautiful on the outside. Meaning, when we get in touch, and we're not fake, this is beautifying. It makes the soul more attractive. Yeah, it creates that, because they're showing me kind of like the aura glowing. It makes us more attractive. The authenticity does. So this is, getting in touch with that and realizing where that truly sits, and again, attracting, and the sense that they're giving me is it attracts other souls that are in this process as well. And again, that only, like, two minds are better than one. We learn more. We speculate less, and we get to what matters most when we connect to others in this way. Now, on top of Odin, the guidance, which is comical, but very serious, we get confidence, yeah. There's a great confidence in our guides to get us over this. If it's an energy frequency that is abnormal, they're going to get us over this. If it's a infusion of energy that like a burp of energy that we have to it's kind of showing me like a boat on the water. It's like our guides are going to help us so we don't flip the boat. They're going to help us gain, what we need. Okay, go over here and do this. They're going to guide us. But again, we have to be attached to them already, or have gained some great strength and worth in this already. If not, and we're in the water struggling, and we grab a hand just out of fear, and you're gonna get tripped up here. You really are. So these are for hardcore spiritual people who have already done some work, who've already connected to their guides, you're gaining confidence with you and your guides and what they're telling you. You're gaining confidence in the physical universe as to what is the result of me doing this, and creates a result on the physical plane that we're seeing as validation. This is all in the flow of what. And again, this has been a long-term thing, and for me, and everybody's in different waves of this. Some may be just starting their wave right now, and they probably won't be attracted to my material, frankly. And I got connected around 2012. That's when everything opened up for me, and I was connected to, and it's like, okay, we're going to start our journey here, and here we go. And they basically said it like an instructor. We're going to start class, and, this, blah, blah, blah. And I went through moments, where weird things would happen, and I would be in disbelief that I would overpower things and stop it, and I wouldn't evolve at that time, or I would resist it quite highly and whatnot. So at this point, there's a confidence that is gained in this area from going back and forth like that. But nonetheless, it is there. It is solid. So I feel like a lot of these feminines are in this way. They got a great confidence between them and their guidance system. And their guidance system right now, they're naturally flowing into an area of listening rather than pushing any energy outward, because there's burps in the field. That's the only way I can explain it. Energy burps that are coming up, and no matter really, even if you are in the highest plane, it's going to affect you. So the sense is to kind of back off while this burp goes through, and then reincorporate after. And so this is the guidance I feel that is coming through these feminines. Again, listening. On top of that card, I have the shaman cards. What do we get on top of the listening card? 24, galactic mushroom. The divine matrix, what I had in the last energy report. Give me a moment here. Yeah, because there's kind of some smoke coming through, right? This is like a, I don't know, there's a face, and it's like a mushroom that's kind of gone through its whole phase, and then there's a little part of it that's like billowing smoke there in the middle, and I get a sage kind of effect or sense from that, and just give me a minute, because the divine matrix, right, that's talking about the divine plan from the highest high, and we've had a lot of hijackings here of energy having to do with religions or belief systems, and again, cults, this kind of thing. They hijack that system and they bring in a low frequency, and then they get people to admire that low frequency. And this is an abolishing of that energy. And I feel like the divine matrix is suddenly going to clear the air, that we will see clearly the right way. We will just feel it more than see it, frankly. But if we're going to get literal with things, we're going to feel the right way to go here. And yeah, so a lot of these cult mentalities, this kind of stuff, this is all breaking up at this point. This is all coming to the surface to be seen. And this galactic mushroom, that's the highest high. That is who's in charge here. And again, we're going to really see who's in charge. And these people that were even under the effect of a spell of these people that hijacked, right? So the way they show it to me in spirit form is they show it like a big light at the top of the galaxy, right? And then there's these little lights underneath. And it's like these lights create a barrier to get to the bigger light. And it's all in sequence. And it all works downward. They may have started religion to kind of block that. It's high. And there are certain things that are rooted in the basis of good and whatnot. But it still blocks us from the highest high. And this is kind of the systems that are falling at this point. From the bottom up, they said. And those are the lowest of the frequencies, going to be seen more clearly. We're going to rise above. So this is galactic mushroom. That's part of that. So I feel like part of our mission here is to listen to the stories of others who have been through the trauma and whatnot, is to have compassion for this and to work forward in energy to never allow this, or to make people aware of the trips and trials and tribulations, so that we don't fall into this trap again. And then therefore we clear the clouds away and all we see is direct sun. That's really what it is. It's all these level of clouds that murk up Merkava, but that dirty up our field. They put us in a false sense of hierarchy here, and the king is talking and he's saying this will dissipate and clear the road. It's kind of like the separating of the waters is what I'm getting. We're finally going to clear the way that we can go cleanly and clearly through where we need to for the purest, right? Form. Yeah, these are deeper. Okay. So, the beauty card on top of the authenticity, again, getting in gear with our authentic self, and therefore it's creating more beauty. It's attractive to others, is the sense I get. On top of that, the shaman card we get there is 29, talking about the horned cactus. Resourcefulness is the code word they give there. But the sense I get here is, the prickly ride, right? Because they said, this burp ain't going to be an easy flow. And they warned me of that just today, saying, we got to switch some energies here that are resistant to switching. And if we're resistant to that, we have a part in that. It's not going to be an easy flow. And again, this is bottom of the barrel stuff. We got to clean out all the muck, You can get through all the dirty water at the top of the barrel, but all the muck at the bottom, it's really gross, right? You don't want to go there. You never dealt with it. So you're just skimming from the top. This is the bottom of the barrel. So this is going to be prickly. It's going to be hard on the spiritual self, the emotional self, the internal processes are going to have to work in areas they'd never worked before. This is what they said to me directly. So this is down the center. This is what we can't get away from, is the prickly stuff. And a lot of the prickly stuff may just be the information that we get from others, passed down, that we do not want to accept, is hard to accept. It's hard to face emotionally. It's hard to face visually. It's hard to face, period. But this is the stuff we got to pay attention to it. We got to listen to it. We got to see it. We got to run it through our systems and heal in order to not let it affect us anymore in the future, in the ways that it has in the past, is what they said. So, Odin, the guidance, again, connecting with higher self, guides, whatnot, something up and above in there that is guiding you beyond your normal processes. We're gaining confidence in this area to do so. What is the shaman card we get on top of that? We get Winter's Dream, 63, talking about gestation period. Wow. Yeah, like this burp of energy that's going to be very prickly. I feel like it's going to be really the unveiling of a lot of stuff here. And it may not, it may be within us. There's a lot of unveiling. It may be our own personal baggage. We got to unveil. We got to look at it. So, give an example of this. They're saying is, so say if we were sexually abused, we never want to deal with that. We never want to look at it. We have to go back. We have to visualize. We have to understand what we went through. We have to go through it visually. We have to go through it emotionally. We have to go through it energetically. And we have to heal. And if we do not look at it, like trying to prevent, good and bad, we can't heal, and therefore we can't stop it from happening. This is what we have to face it head on and say no more, and part of the head on is, and again, this may be you or people outside of you, is facing it, having the courage to face it and look at it and go through it. Because if it happened to you, you have to do that. If it happened to someone else, you still have to do that to be strong and help them through. And for some people, that might be part of their mission, is to help people through these phases in their life in order to get through to a better society on the other side. Okay. Yeah. Deep. Okay. The Matrix, the galactic mushroom. Again, there's a divine plan here to unleash some energy here. It's going to be prickly. But what's the the Gaia card on top of that? Is the Four of Air, which is my mental mechanics card, which is, there may be a lot of us in our thought processes. This is all good. Means mentally we will be accepting this. But again, this is not containing the emotional center whatsoever. But there is a sense here that if we at least accept it on an intellectual level, we can start to make progress here, because if we completely deny it, which I don't get here, we can't. So there is a sense of an intellectual part of ourselves understanding what's going on here. Yeah, and they're showing me that in healing form. So if it is something from our past that's getting in the way of our future, we're going to see that quite highly intellectually. But usually I have problems, and different people have different problems in different areas, is in the emotional center. So that's where, we'll see what happens here as we move into the horned cactus, the resourcefulness energy. On top of that card, the Gaia card we get is the scribe. So witnessing and taking note of and talking about. So yeah, this is all in good flow, because it means mentally it's hit us. So the information is registered. Then the next step is to record it. And I'm getting like a lawyer. Okay, the information's been crossed. Now we're going to write it down, take log of it. I'm kind of getting like a lawyer kind of. They're presenting it to me in that way. Now, the scribe, there's a warning here saying be authentic, because that bee well, it looks like a bee to me, but it could be a fly. But they're going be authentic, and the beetle is about change, and it can be about making the best of a bad lot as well, is the sense I get. And that's the thing, is we may be finding out a lot of dirty, nasty information, and this could come in the form of any perspective whatsoever. It could be in your work area, your romance area, your life period, family, community, whatever. We may be finding out some dirty details here, and the sense is just to log it in. Make sure you don't miss anything. Make sure you've got it all, because they're showing me point form and correcting with someone, saying it's almost like a lawyer scenario, going, okay, did this happen? Yes, that happened. Okay, and then this happened. Yes, that happened. And this happened? Yes, that happened. Okay, making sure that we're authentic in that process, because once we go forward to enforce this, right, to take it to court, this has to be, this has to be authentic. It's what they're saying. It has to be all wrapped in truth. We cannot have anything here that's embellished in any way or downplayed in any way. We need to create the facts here. Okay, interesting. So there's a sense of being meticulous in this area. Again, authentic, nothing overly dramatic, and nothing underly playing anything. It has to be right on the level, because that will trip us up in the long run. Okay, so this is, I'm feeling like I'm being prepared for a court case, and I'm being drilled that we cannot have illusions here whatsoever. This has to be cold hard facts or nothing, and that's all we come in with. Even if we're trying to fight for something we want, we have to come in with the facts only, Jack. Because the sense they're giving me is the opponent may come in with overinflated examples, and if that's seen on one side and not the other, guess who edges out? We may have two wrongs here, but somebody here in truth is going to win out. So this is, I'm getting like a legal situation. So don't go above, because you'll get your fingers smacked highly for that if somebody's going into court. Okay, that's a warning. Winter's dream gestation period. Again, I feel like we're being highly guided. I feel like there's a gestation period here, and it may literally be someone getting prepared for court. And I feel like all the paperwork's been drawn up. Again, we may be hearing this after the fact of talking to our lawyer and putting all the details in. But the thing is, if we embellish in any way, or we go over the line of truth in any way, this will be seen and it will not go through. We cannot lie at this point, especially when it's coming to do with the law, because there's better instincts on the other end of this, okay? Which is good. That's hopeful. So on 63, the winter's dream, the gestation period, I feel like somebody's getting their plans together, and there's a certain waiting time before we actually hit the courtroom. This is what they're giving me for examples. We get a masculine and feminine energy card. Now, again, we're highly guided. This matches. If I look back to this Odin card, I feel like we may have literally some divorces or some serious accusations coming forth in the field here to a masculine-feminine partnership. We may have had a marriage, and we may be making accusations against someone. Again, be wary of what we go in for. There's no explosions of fact here. Meaning, things that go above and beyond the facts, that we again, taint the energy in any way, we're going to get penalized for that. Now, Odin starts this energy row here, and he is in orange and red. I feel like this court case, if this is what I'm picking up on, they keep, usually they'll change the analogies, but this may be someone heading to court here having to do with a masculine-feminine situation. I feel like it's having to do with money. I feel like it has to do with our self-worth, and I feel like we're trying to prove a point here. Again, stick to the facts. If we deter from the facts, we will be punished highly, and there will be no second chance. This is it. This is the frequency is set here. So, and I do feel they're giving me a sense that someone's already laid the facts down. So this is just a precursor to the end game here. Because what's going to happen is, if we exploded the facts to a degree that there will be proof to uncover that, the frequencies do not allow for fibs, lies, or untruths. They do not allow for this. And those will be exposed to the highest degree, and you will be made of an example of, is the sense that I get. You may not have done that bad, and it may have been an over whatever of the truth, and in the past we may have gotten away with this, but right now we will not. And in fact, we made example of, and this will be the first example, so it will be the harshest, is what I'm getting. So that's just, if somebody's in anxiety already, I feel like this person is in anxiety. Is not in anxiety. I feel they're in very confident, disturbingly so, because they really have no bearing here in this legal matter. Now, so this is between a masculine and a feminine, opposing energies that are going to court to solve something. And whoever is not telling the truth is going to be exposed for it. And if we are both not telling the truth, we will both go down. And the one that is telling the truth will gain not only in a spiritual way, but in a monetary way. Now, as we move into the next set of cards here, I had the Angelarium cards, and they're telling me, kind of sit with these a little bit, get to know them, and whatnot. And I realize this is from the Kabbalah. It's talking about angel. Somebody had made up all these cards. They're kind of disturbing, and I felt like a heavy energy attached. But once I researched, it wasn't as heavy as I initially thought. So I'm just going to feed into those. The Four of Air. Again, our mental processes, we are coming from a mental state here, having to deal with, like if you're in a lawyer type situation or whatnot, whether you're in that scenario or not, your mind, you're coming from a lack of emotion with what you're dealing with. So on top of that energy, the Angelarium card we get there is, there's a name here, Jevra. I don't know. Left hand and judgment is what it's talking about. Now, it's interesting to me, again, doing my research, there's a sword of truth that creates a boundary here. And it's going to create a huge spiritual boundary for this person. Maybe a lesson if they're not in the right space energetically, meaning not attached to that truth. Now, the sense here is we create a boundary between us and all that is in the way of truth. So what we're doing here is creating a boundary of those who do not speak the truth. So those who are not in truth are going to be cut away from us quite highly. That's what I'm getting here. And that may be why we are not in an emotional state, because we may have been in an emotional state that confused us, but now we are looking at truths, and those truths will be what decides as we go forward. Very much so like the energy they're giving me of the lawyer. You don't tell me anything that ain't true here, because if we find out in court, it is not going to be good. You're going to lose out. And that person may have a false sense of confidence. Oh, nobody knows. Nobody will find out. But again, the energy does not support this. Somebody knows. Somebody found out. So, even those that are in a high esteem and think that they can get away, people know. People found out. So this is what's going to come forth. Now, as we move into the scribe energy, again, there's a sense of taking notes here. And it may be just spiritual noting, emotionally noting the truth and where it sits in other people. And then there might be an intensive energy here of noting, yes, in court, we're taking notes, like a legal noting. So on top of that scribe, the Angelarium card we get there is Keter, the crown and spirituality. Look at that right down the center. So somebody here is in their spiritual mode. Someone here is connected. Now we have a dark orb above. And interesting, because they're bringing me back to that story I said about hijacking our universe. Now, for those people that are in that energy of illusion, under that hijacked sphere of energy. Now, how would I say? It's like the black cloud that covers over so you can't see the sun. That's what I'm getting. So, not only can we not really gain our highest ability, but we've been blocked to think that that's the way it should be. Okay, so that's our new normal, is halfway point, when we really have the ability to go all the way. Now, somebody here is under this veil. Okay, they're under a veil of believing certain energies within this triangle. I'm forming a triangle on my table. And there's one in here too, like a diamond shape. And that black orb is in it. They're showing me the phases, almost like the phases of the moon and the dark side of the moon. Now, this Keter he's a spiritually based, higher ascendant being. He works within the realms of dark and light. So he knows all. He is the all-seeing, the all. The end of the all. Not, because somebody here is given a belief system that can only have the ability to get them halfway to divinity. And that's intentionally driven by the people that invented that. They do that to keep you powerless. Okay? Now, there's an energy opening across all, the whole grid here of Earth. We're trying to get you to your all. Not halfway all, but all. All seeing, all knowing, all. All feeling, all sensing, all. Somebody is under a veil. Now, this can either be the defendant or it can be the person. The other person. Now, give me a minute. I lost my train there because I'm so deeply into this. Because this overall is a great spiritual card. It means that either we're contacted by the highest high or we are somehow connected. And it may be in a cloud of fog, but you're still holding the hand. You may not be able to see the body, but you're still holding the hand. This is what I'm getting. So the crown and spirituality is right in the center. It bleeds through everything. It releases good energy here. So the feminine is coming, or at least connected to something that is good and righteous. Now, again, we can flip and do not so righteous depending on our actions. But they are connected. So meaning they are getting the wisdom. It's whether they use it. Now, when we go to the masculine and feminine, which is the area I feel the conflict, on top of there, the Angelarium card is Uriel, the Angel of Flame. Now, interesting to me, there's red and orange. And the flame, we could talk about high connective energies within a masculine and feminine, and within the high connective, we can also have high disconnective. So it can come to a high discord. As much as we are connected, we are also in hatred. This is what I get, like a divorce. Like when we were in love, it was huge and wonderful, but now that it's in discord, it's huge and wonderful, unwonderful in that way. So the Angel of Flame is also things that burn things up in our past. And there's a lot of flames coming from this masculine feminine card. So there's something here that needs to disintegrate. Now, it could be the anger itself within these two people. But I feel like if it's a court case that we're in and amongst, that will put a final key or, in the coffin kind of thing. It'll lock things down. Now, if it is, because there's validation. Somebody's needing validation here for their point of view. And again, are they in truth or not? Give me a moment here. The Angel of Flame disintegrates that which is no. So if we're highly spiritually guided, what's going to happen here is there's going to be a disintegration of that which does not matter. That which is in the negative zone, that which is overinflated. And again, if we step one toe over that line, we're going to get a huge smack, right? Because in the past, we may not have gotten any consequences whatsoever, and this is a buildup of all of that time. So at this point, this person has a false sense of security that they're going to come out winning. And if they are in any way not being truthful, man, this is going to be highlighted to the 10th degree. If they're going to hit it, it's going to hit them as an accumulation of karma, is what I get. It's almost like the universe realizes this person doesn't understand in that way, so they need, you have to pull all the karma cards and play them all at once to get to win here. To win through, to get through to this person because they're stubborn or they're hard-headed or they're not saying or they don't listen to this kind of stuff. And it's going to blow them away. It's really going to create a process where things are going to change even when they don't want to change. It's going to change. They have no choice. And this is the thing. Maybe behind bars. I'm getting that again. Behind bars. So, a lot of people are going to be found out for what they're doing behind closed doors. So the Uriel here, the angel of flame, the story is that he burns things up with great passion. But it is only things that deserve to be removed, this kind of thing. It's on top of the masculine feminine cards, so there's something here, and if it was a connection, it's something here that's needing to be separated. Universally, this is going to create on the physical plane that separation point where both people walk in different directions instead of continuing to go back to each other. Okay, so it's heavily handed universally is what I get here, if that's okay. Now for the Celtic cards, Universal Celtic Tarot. We'll end it off here. I didn't do a clarifying card. I don't know. This is just what we're doing. So we'll move on. So on top of the left-hand judgment here with the swords, the energy of truth separating us from that which is untruth. And that's really all it comes down to, is those that are telling truth and those that are untrue. And they both will go in their separate ways, unless you decide to tell the truth from here on after. And some people just won't, no matter how much they get their finger slapped or get put in behind bars. They just will not. They will continue to tell lies. So this is, I feel like this is something like this. There's someone here is searching for validation. I'm not quite sure if it's on the good side or the bad. But the sense is the universe will make the right decision through, even if it's in a courtly way. Like, we don't have much faith in the court system at this time, but this will come through for those people that are in truth. Okay, so on top of that card, the Judgment card, the Celtic Tarot says the Ten of Wands. Yeah, it's like we're going blind. Someone here is blind. They're blind to consequences. They've never had any in the past, so why would it come all of a sudden? It's coming because it is your fate and your karma. And it is there to help you release that which you no longer need. And I feel like the burden is of truth. I feel like we need to face the truth, and that's going to be unburdening in a way. For some people, it will be... like, we're talking about the feminine energy here, but if we're getting validated for our truth, which is actual truth, I feel like it will be very unburdening, because we will be like, finally, I'm believed, or finally, someone seeing my side of the story, finally, I'm validated. This is kind of the sense that I get with this Ten of Wands. It's like, we're walking here and everything's, upside down world. Bad people are getting rewarded and good people are feeling the sting, and now it's back on track is the sense I get. Because why? Because we stuck to our truth. We didn't stray from that. We kept to our truth, and that has helped us to, and we had to stand in our truth even in the background to make sure that it would come to the light here, and it's coming to the light. So on top of the spirituality, I feel like a deeper spiritual energy here, like the all-seeing, all-knowing, it's all here to make an example here, to make someone see something they never saw before. We could be the example of this, or it could be outside of us. It could be in a divorce settlement. It could be, and again, it's there to remove untruths and to reveal truths. Now, on top of that card, we get the Four of Pentacles. A lot of blindfolds here. Yeah, someone was blind is the sense that I get. And again, blind to the truth. So if we're the one that does not see the truth and is continuing to go in a certain way here, normally the Four of Pentacles is about gathering and holding things to be in our field. We want it to be like greed, holding things in. We want it to stay in. We want it not to change, you know, this kind of thing. And the sense I'm getting here is we may not see what it is that we truly want. And therefore, the universe is going to help us. Because I feel like this person is under illusion. I feel like this feminine energy, again, you could be a masculine in feminine energy, but you are not seeing correctly is the sense. Not only what we want and what could be unburdening. I feel like we're an upside down world. We're seeing everything is backwards. And things that we don't want, we're going into that. And unconsciously, it's because we're unhealed. But the universe is going to make you see this more clearly and more abruptly and more profoundly in our life. We cannot escape. We cannot be in denial at this point. And it may come in a legal way or legal form for this person. Now, the Angel of Flame, what do we end this on? The Seven of Pentacles. Interesting. Because I get wonderment here. Is what I get from this child. Like, oh, look at all the pentacles. They're dancing in the air. That's what I get. And then there's these little trolls. And I feel like the trolls are in charge of the pentacles. Now, give me a minute. It's a lot of things going on here. The flame is about burning away of energy. You're highly guided, but may not be listening to that guidance, or may think the guidance is trying to put you in a negative way when it's actually not. And like, I get an upside down world here. This person is really strewn about. Now, the Seven of Pentacles, and we're ending on this energy. This has a different meaning altogether. They're like, don't even attach to the original meaning. Because it's interesting to me, they're showing me the gremlin there, and he's kind of hypnotizing. So yeah, somebody's been under a spell with somebody else, is the sense I get. And that's what makes them blind to what they need and what they perceive. And really what's happening here, if it's a court case, is going to illuminate to us what we need to see here. Because the courts will illuminate you to what is actually going on here. Even though we have our own agenda in that way, we may see more clearly, whoa, this is, I thought it was this way, but it's actually that way. Oh my, right? This is, and it's going to be life-changing. And like the child here, it's going to be wonderment, like, wow, like, why are they floating? And the thing is there's also that spell, like a daze, coming out of a daze. That's where we end. It's like we're in a daze, but that daze is going to be broken because the universe has had enough of this person being under illusion. Again, this feminine energy. So somebody here is under an illusion, and they're going to be highly broken of that. They're going to be highly disrupted from that. So there can no longer be, it's like a hypnotist that snaps his fingers, says, Kate, you're awake, and then suddenly they're in a different zone. This is what, and it's going to be in the way, I mean, whenever it comes universally, it's huge, you know, because they're the last ones. Like, that's like, you know, the playground, right? And the teacher is monitoring all the kids, make sure nobody leaves and nobody gets too hurt. Well, they can oversee a little squabble where people, and then it diffuses and they carry on, you know, a little disagreement. But when it comes to like bashing the kid over the head with a bat, they're going to get involved. And this is what's going on. But the kid may not understand because they're hiding the bat. They get hit over the head and then they hide the bat. It's like, oh, it was me. And then they're falling for it. But there's a higher court here. And again, that could be literal. There's a higher energy here that is going to make you see things clearly. there will be no illusion. Okay, so that's for the feminine. Yeah, we may be under hypnotized, under illusion, under spells, and that is going to be disintegrated. So feminine energy, we are highly guided, but at some point here someone's working really hard to foul up our guidance, and that is being overturned. So on to the masculine energy, as I have one of the cards drop.